Hey everyone, welcome to Your First Digital Product, a show that helps maxed out service providers create their first digital product so they can gain an additional income stream, grow their impact without increasing one-on-one work, and experience more time freedom. On the show, I talk to business owners who have launched digital products and dig deep into how you can create, launch, and market your first digital product. I'm your host, Renee Morozowicz. Let's go. Hey everybody, today I'm here with Shawn Fink. Shawn is a business strategist and courage coach for female identifying entrepreneurs who want to brave up, release fear and self-doubt so they can grow, up-level, or pivot their business. She is also the host of the Brave Yes Business Show. Hey Shawn, how are you?
Hi, thank you for having me. I'm great. It's great to
I'm
be here.
Oh yeah, I'm so excited you're here and I can't wait to hear all about your product. So why don't you tell us just a little bit more about you?
Yeah, so I am a business coach. I talk to female entrepreneurs who are interested in taking their business to the next level. And so that's where the courage coaching comes in. I've been doing business stuff for a long time. And most people, when you're looking for a coach, everybody can talk business. But I add a whole other layer to that to really push women entrepreneurs to their edge, to help them get more visibility, take more risks, have more fun. And I specifically really love to work with women to streamline and minimize the heavy, hustle and grind work,
Ugh, yes.
which is brave to do.
Mhm.
So it takes some real yeses and nos to really get your business to a place where you can feel happy in it and joyful in it and love what you're doing and making money.
Yeah, that makes sense. I love that. Yeah, because there is a lot of this like hustle culture, like work harder and all this kind of stuff. And you're like, ugh, I just don't want to do it like that. And there has to be another way. So I love it. And I love that you mentioned fun too, because yeah, really like, and especially I feel for freelancers or other, kind of self-employed people, business owners, like you don't want to do it the 9 to 5 way. Like we want to do it like a better, more fun way. So that's very cool.
Absolutely. Why treat your business like a job if you don't want to
Yes.
have a job,
Yes, exactly, exactly.
let's make it fun, let's make it joyful, let's make it, us,
Yeah.
authentic and real.
Mhm. Yeah, and
Yeah,
it just
so
feels so much better. It feels so much better, waking up in the morning. We could probably talk about this all day,
we
but
could. We just saw another episode, right?
yes, for sure. Yes,
Or
also.
another podcast, actually.
Yes, yeah. Okay, so tell us about your first digital products. We talked a little bit before, and you don't have any current products, but you've had products in the past, possibly from another business. So why don't we start at the beginning and we'll go through your journey as much as you want to share with us, but tell us about your very first digital product.
Yeah. So I love this story. I'm currently in my second business. My first business was a very successful B2C brand. Um, and it was called, when I was started the digital product, I didn't really have, I had a blog name. I was a blogger
Okay.
and I was writing and I had, this was 10 years ago, by the way. Actually, it was actually 11 years ago because this month, as we're recording this, it is my 10th month full time as an entrepreneur. 10th year. Did I say
10th year.
month?
Okay, yeah.
10th year.
Yes.
So it was 11 years ago and I was blogging and I had a mentor who I was working 9 to 5, I had my
Mhm.
job and a mentor and I would have lunch from time to time. And she was a big marketing business person. And so she knew I was interested in doing more of an online thing. So I told her I had this free course that I put together, and I think I had four to 500 people sign up for it.
Oh, wow.
And she was like, "Okay, that's great that you did that, but what are you going to sell to them?" And I was
Mhm.
like, "Well, I don't know." So I was like, "All right, well, I think I could probably because I was a writer. I am a writer, still a writer. I think I could probably throw together a book. Like I
Mhm.
can just sell some kind of an ebook." So I think the free course was like a 2-week course, and so I ended up throwing together some blog posts that I had written and a few extra little bells and whistles, and I put together it was an ebook called The Playful Family.
Mhm.
My audience at the time was mostly moms. Um, and so I put it up on Amazon. I did not print that book, but it was, just in digital. So I had it in like PDF version on my site. And then
Mhm.
it was also on Amazon. In fact, I was just talking with a client that I have closed out with, but is currently in my group coaching program. And the whole time I was coaching her, she was like, "I know that your name sounds familiar." And just a couple weeks ago, she said, "I figured it out. Your book is on my Kindle," and it was The Playful Family.
Oh, that's
So a
awesome.
lot of those clients that from my first business are coming around. So that was my first product. It was a book, which is very fitting. I am a writer. I identify as writer, creator, coach.
Mhm.
I will always put writer first because it is my heart, it is my passion. And so I'm really happy that the first product was an ebook.
Yeah. So that's an interesting story that you didn't really have something and then, somebody said like, "Hey, why don't you do this?" Like, how did you feel after you did it? Or even whenever they said that to you, did you feel like, "Oh, yeah, that's a great idea?" Or, were you resistant? Like, how did you feel about the process and, having done it?
Yeah, well, I think my work now is in helping women to, do brave yeses.
Mhm.
And I think that was probably one of my earlier brave yeses in business.
Nice.
I felt like this is what I'm supposed to do.
Mhm.
I mean, I really did, from the very beginning. But I also had to learn. I had to like
Mhm.
learn really quickly, everything online, you have to, there's always a digital
Yes.
learning curve.
Mhm.
So like, how do I get it up on Amazon and all, how do I get it? I think I even designed the cover myself
Oh,
on that
nice.
book.
Mhm.
I eventually wrote a different book and published that in print, but I did get
Mhm.
somebody, I hired out for somebody to do the
Oh,
cover
nice.
on that one.
Mhm.
But yeah, I think I was proud and it really gave me the confidence to continue on to do, the really big things that I eventually went on to do.
Mhm. Yeah, sometimes it's, like you're not sure how to do it the first time and then you kind of just work through the steps. You're like, "Oh, okay, like now I get it and, I
It's
can
not
do it
hard.
again." Yes, it's really not that hard. Yes, yeah. We make it hard, I think. I
Oh,
think, well,
totally.
yeah, just in
Yeah.
our
I
minds, but
tell
yes.
people that I'm an accidental entrepreneur
Mhm.
because of that story, 'cause if my friend had not said, "What are you going to sell to them?" I may
Mhm.
not be an entrepreneur right now.
Yeah. Yeah, I
You know,
love that too, like, all those like, that, like, one little, moment, just at lunch or something that, like something that you hadn't considered or hadn't thought of, and then, like, change the course of your business, like, that's very cool.
absolutely.
Okay, so you had the book and it was out there, and then what? Like, you said you changed businesses, did you kinda just, like, retire it all? How did you kinda, like, maybe wrap that up, and then what was the next thing that started, or
Yeah, well, that
take us through
actually
the
was what kicked off about an 8-year journey with building, with a brand that really kind of became a machine of its
Mhm,
own. The Abundant Mama Project is what it was rebranded to at the time, which really started as a course, an online course. I was using, I don't know if you ever heard of or used, initially was on something called Rizuku.
okay, no, mm-mm.
Okay, so I'm definitely dating myself right now
Some
as one
people
of
probably
the
know.
yeah. So been creating online for a long time. So I'm sure Rizuku is still around. The problem was
Mm,
they
mhm,
stopped updating, and so it really became kind of obsolete. But it was an online course platform like Thinkific and
yeah,
Teachable, but
teachable, mhm,
it was probably the first one. And so I put up an online course. I think originally it was an email course, but then eventually we moved it to Rizuku, and then eventually I moved it to Mighty Networks, which
mhm,
is where I eventually had a membership community. Had about 200 women from around the world in that community. That community lasted 8 years,
wow,
uh, 8 full years, producing online content and digital, products
mhm,
for the membership community. I probably created an inventory of about 200
mhm,
products, webinars, ebooks,
mhm.
workbooks, courses, many, many, many things.
Yeah, how did those specific pieces come to be? Like, did you just sit down and think like, "Oh, this is what they need," or were people asking for certain things, or were like, how did the content come to be
Yeah.
exactly?
Yeah, that's a good question. My process then and now is always to use sort of a 50-50 approach. 50% of what I know to be true,
Mhm,
trusting myself and what
mhm,
I'm going through, and 50% really paying attention to what other people are saying and doing.
Mhm.
So a lot of times when I'll have a hunch of what I think people need, and then I can just kind of feel it out,
Mhm.
whether that be through conversations or just listening. I say listening
Yeah.
because mostly it's reading other people's words and
Mhm.
comments online. Um, or as became more and more experienced in
Mhm.
hosting. I mean, I was hosting my first course, the Abundant Mama Project, which is what it was called, had upwards of 150 students in
Mm.
it for every session
Wow.
till the market started to change.
Okay.
And we can talk more about that. So my hunch was this product would work. It would help people. And it was a course for moms to be more mindful, be more present,
Mhm.
um, focus on gratitude. I mean, there was 4 pillars to for the program.
Mhm.
And, but it was in those conversations in the course where I would read people's comments that I would
Yeah.
learn, oh, here's something else that I could do, or
Okay,
here's
great.
something else that I can pay attention to.
Mhm.
Um, but I would never create something that didn't feel right for me. Like I wouldn't
Right.
just create it just to create it,
Right.
just create it. It had to feel something. I had to know that it was something I could teach, that it was
Mhm.
something that I could really build, success around.
Yeah.
Um, so I was so it was a little bit of both. I know I never want to be somebody who, well, my client wants this and, I don't like it, but,
Yes.
so I really do use sort of a both and
Mhm.
approach.
Yeah, and it's nice that and you're not doing it in a vacuum. You're not like, "Well, like, with your eyes closed, like, well, I think this is what people need," or "I know this is what people need." Like, getting that sort of validation, not maybe just asking them specific questions, although you could, but yeah, reading through what they're saying, the conversations you're having, so that you can get that feedback to really understand their needs. Because, I'm sure that the group was cohesive, but everybody's different also. So
Yes.
it's so that's a good, I think, good approach for them.
Yeah. Yeah. And it's much more organic and
Mhm.
fun for me
Yeah.
to kind of go, okay, here's what I'm thinking. Can I find the evidence?
Mhm.
Or, somebody would trigger, something in me that was like, oh, there it is.
Yeah.
It's a little bit of intuition, but it's also just, self trust,
Mhm.
that, okay, you know what? That's the winner. And
Yeah.
I've always had a really good sense of, and even now, I have a really good sense of people.
Mhm.
I was a journalist for 10 years before I, started doing all this. And you get to know people.
Mhm.
You get to know how the world works and how people work. And that has served me very well.
Yeah, yeah, that's great. That's awesome. Very cool. Okay, so you had the ebook, and then you had products, many products, membership community, and you're creating products based on things that resonate with you and conversations you're having with people, and then what happens?
Yeah. Yeah. So 8 years, the course was, wild success.
Mhm.
And because the course was so successful, I think I ran it like 3 times and the same people kept signing up.
Oh,
I
wow.
would get new people, but I would have the
Mhm.
same old people. And so finally I realized, I guess they want more.
Mhm. Oh, okay.
So that's how
Interesting.
the membership community came to be.
Mhm.
And with the community, obviously, there was a great big connection there. So there was some in person retreats.
Oh, nice.
And so and these people were so tight that they would meet up all over the world. So, they would connect with their families, the kids would get together. It was really beautiful to see. And I still have boxes of cards from these people who, sent me just tons of beautiful cards, notes, things in the mail, just loving,
Aw.
how Abundant Mama changed them. I mean,
Mhm.
it was really truly one of the greatest things I've ever done. So the problem was the market changed.
Okay.
And I wasn't prepared for that. And none of us were. And we're seeing now, even more and more people,
Mhm.
the membership model of high traffic, low cost
Mhm.
is not a viable product or model for your business anymore. At the time, it was because there were no algorithms, or if there were, they were
Mhm.
very light,
Mhm.
and traffic could just flood in, and you could sell anything. I mean, people
Mhm.
were selling anything, and that's why I always tell clients, like, if people are talking about like anything before 2016, and how they sold and make a ton
Mhm.
of money. That's
Different
because it was
maybe.
a different
Okay.
market. So the market started to shift, getting people to sign up for courses and even in memberships really started to shift.
Mhm.
And I do not want to hustle and grind,
Yeah.
as I said, and that's what it would have taken for me to really start to keep up with the churn
Mhm.
of the membership. And at the same time, I was changing. I was outgrowing the model or the business itself because
Mhm.
when I started my girls, I have twins, they were 5
Mhm.
and they were 16.
Mhm.
And I could kind of see into the future, like, do I really want to be talking about motherhood for, the next 10 years?
Right. Yeah.
Plus, I was feeling this calling to do something more.
Mhm.
And it took me some time. I had to do some digging, but I finally was like, all right, it's time to close. I had to close the membership. It was
Mhm.
such a drain on my energy to keep it
Mhm.
afloat.
Okay.
I was the only content creator for it. So I was creating all the monthly content. I had a team that helped with some of the other
Mhm.
things, but that's a lot of content.
Yeah.
And I did it 24/7 for 8 years.
Mhm. Oof.
And so I was ready to let it go so that I could then have the creative energy to try something different. So my brave yes, which I talk a lot about, was closing the membership. And I
Mhm.
knew that people were going to be very upset.
Mhm.
I knew it. And they were upset, but it went off very well.
Yeah.
Still in touch with many, many, many people. So that's when I switched gears and I
Mhm.
pivoted to only one-to-one coaching.
Okay.
And at first, I thought I was going to do more like career coaching, life purpose coaching, something like that. And that did not feel right either,
Mhm.
after kind of being in it for a bit. So it was soon after that I realized that really what I am best at and love is talking to people about business strategy,
Mhm.
and up leveling in your business and really taking those risks. So and that's kind of related to the work I was doing by the end of my first business. I was just writing a piece about how the first people that I led to courage was these women who got on an airplane and flew to the middle of nowhere outside of DC to
Mhm.
meet me for the weekend and to
Yeah.
stay with a bunch of strangers
Mhm.
that they'd never met before in real life. And they were like so terrified because most of them had never even left their kids before.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
So and they hadn't flown solo before.
Mhm.
So for them, it was a huge trip. And so I've been kind of leading people to courage for quite
Mhm.
some time.
Yeah, that's amazing. So what do you think changed, like, before we continued down the path, what do you think changed in 2016?
Yeah. Well, there was a lot of news going on in 2016.
Okay.
It was a big news cycle
Mhm.
happening. There was a presidential election.
Mhm.
There was a lot of, I think there was a lot of interest moving toward news and reading news and keeping up with the news, which created, I think, a lot of stress for people also.
Yes. Yes.
Um, and that stress, for me, I think that stress really only now is starting to kind of subside.
Mhm.
And I think in that time frame, their attention spans
Mhm.
change dramatically.
Yeah.
And then
Okay.
also the algorithms change dramatically. That's when we really saw Facebook
Mhm.
put it's like really intense algorithms in. And so then people were leaving there.
Mhm.
And then, you've got Instagram kind of doing its own algorithms, and Google really started to clamp down so that you couldn't even get search to your
Mhm.
website. You go to Google now, like you don't even get
Yeah.
websites, you get the
Yes.
information right there. So
Mhm.
they are really controlling how much traffic you can get, which that's hard for business owners. If you can't get people to an online business owner, such as
Mhm.
myself, especially, you can't get people to your sales page. You can't get them to your blog post.
Yeah.
How are they going to really get to know you, especially if you
Right.
don't want to do social media? There's a lot of
Yes.
people
Oh
who
my
don't want to
goodness.
do social media.
Yes. That's definitely a big thing. Yeah, there's a lot of people out there like, you don't have to do social media and, do this or do that. And there's so much, I feel like it's so much noise to kind of wade through to figure out, like, yeah, what do I have to do to be able to be successful and kind of throw out the stuff that doesn't feel right for you. But yeah, that goes along with the times and the algorithms and the attention spans and all that stuff. It's hard.
It is very hard. It's a hard thing. And, there's a lot of conversations right now, especially because there's a slow economy and people are like, should I just get a remote job and not have to
Hmm.
deal with this stress? I'm celebrating 10 years and I'm proud to be here 10 years later and
Hmm.
have not had to get a job but it has not been easy.
Right.
And
Yes.
it's to me it's complicated by these big capitalist machines like Google, like Meta, like Twitter that are
Hmm.
really I know they're trying to make their money.
Yes.
But
Yeah.
it's to me, and this is like an aside, I've watched this happen. I've experienced this. When I'm doing well in my business, I need the traffic to my website. I need people to be able to get to my blog post. And when I have that, I make money and
Hmm.
then I can spend more money.
True. Hmm.
So I will then have the money for the ads. But
Hmm.
as long as they keep that traffic away, it's very hard to sell your digital products.
Hmm.
It's hard to get those sales. So then people don't have the money. And it's literally been a pattern that I've seen.
Hmm. Yeah, I'm not sure about the maybe listeners of the show or how long they've been in business, but yeah, I think having the advice and thoughts from people who have seen some of these, everything's cyclical, I know, or up and down, cycle either way, however you want to look at it. But yeah, who have actually been through it to say, okay, like I know whatever this is that's happening right now is not going to last. Something new will be happening, or something old will happen again, and that's an interesting perspective.
Yeah, I mean, I do think that there is a connection between, I mean, here's the thing. I love to create. I love to create things. I could create all day. I'd be
Hmm.
happy to do that. I love coaching too. But if I can't sell or get what I make to people, it
Hmm.
really is, kind of like, why bother? Why
Yes.
bother doing it?
Yeah.
And I think we're seeing a lot of that with people. They want to do well, they want to make a
Mhm.
lot of money, and they think it's them that's the problem. And it's
Mhm.
not. It's the fact that you just don't have the numbers.
Yeah. Yeah. A lot of pieces to the puzzle.
Yes, many,
What we
many.
can control and what we can't control.
Mhm.
Yeah. Okay, so let's then talk about so now you said you're only working with people one on one, or and maybe I think you said groups before too. So tell us about that. And you had mentioned that you maybe don't use paid digital products now in your business. So how did that come about?
Yeah. So, like I said, I'm not here to hustle. And, I really love working with people one to one. I like the connections, I like the relationships, I like the deep
Mhm.
conversations
Yeah.
that, digital products is just very cold. And I don't really see that being where people want my people
Mhm.
really don't want that kind of a passive relationship or learning. That they want to either be with me
Mhm.
or they want to be in a group
A
with
group
me.
with you. Yeah.
Yeah. Um, and, I just find that we're not seeing, and I can speak kind of more collectively because I talk to a lot of people, we're not seeing people at the stage of the people that I want to work with anyway.
Mhm.
And I don't work with beginners. I work with people who already have established businesses. They're not really interested in learning online. The pandemic burned people out on learning
Yeah.
online,
Online
and
stuff.
they
Mhm.
now really are looking for a much different experience.
Mhm.
Um, that said, I have a ton of digital products because
Mhm.
I'd love to make them.
Mhm.
And so what I use them for mostly is lead magnets. I'll
Okay.
create things that if I think I can put them on my website as, get on my email list. I do have one digital product, which is called the Financial Wellbeing Inventory.
Mhm.
It's an assessment that you can take. You can kind of run yourself through every month to identify the areas of your own well-being that need to be shored up. Because I do courage work with entrepreneurs, I need them to have the highest capacity.
Mhm.
Because when we're tired, we're burned out, we're exhausted, we're stressed, we don't want to take risks. We
Right.
want to hide. We want to eat
Mhm. Sleep.
Ben and Jerry's on Netflix, right,
Yes.
or
Yeah.
sleep. So it's in my best interest to make sure that my clients have the top capacity.
Mhm.
And so this tool is something that people can pay for, download, and then there's a video that walks you through the actual
Mhm.
inventory. And it's what I do myself every month just to make sure that I have the capacity that I
Mhm.
need to have. So that is a product that I have, and I actually do get sales on that
Oh, nice.
from time to time. I don't promote it because it's
Mhm.
not really mostly promoting coaching.
Mhm.
Um, but yeah, so and I'm getting ready to launch a quiz, which
Oh,
is
cool.
also to me, a digital product.
Mhm.
I love all the digital things and I've
Yeah.
done them all. So the quiz is going to be discover your entrepreneurial courage style.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. Again, it's not a paid product.
Mhm.
People, will be able to take it and then they will learn what their style
Mhm.
is. And then there will be some follow up, emails and whatnot.
Mhm. So these nurture people to work with you one-on-one.
Yes.
So based on like the video or the results or the quiz or whatever it is that they go through, it's just like a way to get to know you
Yes.
more to see if they would like to work with you. Okay, that makes sense.
Yeah, the follow-ups will.
Mhm.
Obviously, the quiz is for them to get to
Mhm.
know themselves.
Yes, yeah. Mhm. Mhm.
In my group coaching program, and this is probably, my ideal in the perfect world would be a hybrid coaching program that would have some form of online lessons
Mhm.
or video or audio along with one-to-one coaching with me and
Mhm.
group sessions. That's
Yeah.
that's actually what I want to kind of move
Mhm.
toward. And so because I do think that everybody needs to have that variety of learning.
Mhm.
We can't just learn through solitary computer work.
Yeah.
We need to learn from each other.
Mhm.
We need to have those back and forth, engaging conversations. That's
Mhm.
where the ahas happen the most with people.
Yeah.
So I personally think that if I could create the perfect program, it would have all three elements, the digital
Mhm.
product type offer along with group and solid,
Mhm.
one to one.
Yeah, and I think that lets people go at their own pace so that they can kind of pick and choose what is, what they're kind of interested in learning at that point. And it also, I think, not that you probably don't say the same things over and over again, because I think that once you start to specialize, you really are saying the same things over and over again because people really need to hear them and you need to make sure that they understand. But for those things, like having recorded audio, like you said, or video of like fundamental principles or the very beginning things you need to know, I think those are great supplements to be able to kind of do at your leisure, or as a supplement to like a one-on-one call. I'm part of a program now, and it has all of those things. So it has community, and I have one-on-one times with her, and I also, can take advantage of her libraries and worksheets. So we'll have a call together, and she'll say, based on this call, why don't you check out that video next? I like that then I can go on my own,
Hmm.
and because I might not talk with her again for another 2 weeks. So yeah, I think all of those pieces together makes a really good environment for people, to be able to learn.
Yeah. Yeah. I think it's important. I'm someone who doesn't consume video very
Mhm,
much. I mean, it's pretty like maybe 1% of
mhm.
my day or week. And so knowing that, like, I'm not going to sign up for a video course.
Right.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Like it's just
Yes.
I will not sit there and watch those
Mhm,
videos. Um, so knowing that, not everybody's gonna learn a certain way and
mhm,
kind of giving those different options is always a really great way when you're
mhm.
putting together any kind of program or digital offer.
Yeah, I learned this, I think, kind of I don't know the hard way, but it took me a while to realize it, like, yeah, I'm not a big video person either, but that doesn't mean that my audience isn't, and if I'm comfortable enough to do it, which I don't mind doing it, I just don't consume a lot of video. I'd rather read your blog post, or maybe I'll watch your video if it's not so much of a black box to me. Like, if it's a 45-minute video and I don't know what's inside there, I'm not gonna watch it. But if there's, like, a blog post or, like, some snippets or maybe some key moments, like, I'm more likely to go to those. And the same with audio. I've never really been a huge podcast listener, but that doesn't mean that my audience isn't. And if I'm
Hmm.
comfortable enough to do it, then that's just another opportunity for people to be able to consume the content. So that's kind of how I look at it now. And I have gotten more into podcasts, since doing this. So I think that's a good thing too.
It's got to be something sustainable for you.
Yes, that
As
too.
long as you can produce it, because
Hmm.
I don't produce video because it's not a sustainable outlet
Mhm.
for me. I'm a writer. I'm okay with that.
Yeah.
And there's going to be people who may not want to read what I write, and that's
Mhm.
okay. I can't be for everybody.
Yeah. Okay, so anything else you wanna say about your past products or before we get into your advice? And anything else that we missed?
No, I don't think so. For the
So
whole journey.
yeah, I like that, it's awesome. I like that it's different. I like that everybody's journey is different because I don't I just don't feel like the approach to say, like, "Here's exactly how you build a digital product and here's how you release it," like, is really realistic. Yes, there are some overlaps, right? Like, I do think that creating things that you actually want to create, I do think that validating it in some way that it's going to resonate with your audience ahead of time. But if you don't do that and you find out that you should be doing that later, like, that's an okay lesson to learn. So but I don't think that there's any one specific path that you need to take in terms of like you have to post on Instagram 3 times a week and this is what you have to say. That doesn't feel right for me to recommend to people.
Mm,
So I like that I like to showcase people's stories so that they can say like this is the path I took and this is why I did what I did and this is what went well and this is what didn't go well. So I think it's
yeah.
important.
Yeah, I guess there's one thing to add, and that's just I continue now in this current business to keep my feelers open for what a digital offer would look like should
Mhm.
I go that route. And it's, again, because I think the market's tricky, I tend to be much more conservative with what I put the energy into to
Yes.
sell.
Mhm.
Because I don't want to be distracted and feel like I'm doing too many things. I
Mhm.
really love to show up for my clients, 150%. And I love to write. And anything beyond that is going to kind of dilute my
Mhm.
impact. But I will always be a creator and I'm always looking, like my radar is always on and
Mhm.
100 ideas come to me every day, like,
Mhm.
oh, this could be it. This could be it. But I am much more conservative with like actually going forward than
Mhm.
I used to be because of just experience.
Yeah, time. So how do you then identify? So if you have 100 ideas that come into your head, let's say over the course of a week, how do you know or how do you identify like, okay, that's the one I'm going to act on? Because I think maybe what a lot of people might do is not act on any or act on too many and
Hmm.
then not finish. So how do you identify which ones are, or which one is like the one to go with?
Yeah. Well, I haven't identified one yet. So that should
Okay.
tell you.
Okay.
But just in the grand scheme of decision making,
Hmm.
I think there's usually um, I kind of like put them in three categories, like, oh, this is a good idea. Like, oh, this could be it. And
Hmm.
then there's the game changer.
Okay.
Like it's usually like I've kind of been able to discern
Hmm.
this is, in my work, the yes, the brave yes.
Okay.
Like it's the work that I want to put out now, it needs to be pretty big and bold because I
Hmm.
just don't want to waste my time.
Hmm.
So, for instance, the quiz is, it's a pretty kind of like different, refreshing kind of project. And as soon as I came across that, I was like, this is perfect.
That's okay. Hmm.
And I really I feel like it's in my wheelhouse. I feel like people are going to learn something new from it. And also, it gives me a lot of flexibility to keep the conversation going with potential clients.
Yeah, and I wonder, like, each path, and you could
Yeah.
have different conversations with different, so
Yeah.
I don't know, maybe there's, like, 4 outcomes, like,
There's
like the
four.
choose your own adventure,
Well, I wanted six,
yeah,
but my
yeah,
assistant was like, no, you have to only have four.
that's funny.
I was
Nice.
like, fine.
But that's that's a
Sometimes
perfect
it's my assistant who's telling me, no, you can't do that.
nice. It's good to have
It's,
somebody like that in your life.
we have worked together for 10 years.
Nice.
So
That's
it's
awesome.
pretty rare to find a team member that with you
Mhm.
that long.
And,
Yeah.
like, with the results, like, obviously, those are 4 different types of styles, so 4 different types of messaging that you can really hone it. They talk about, like, segmenting your email list. I'm speaking to you, this style of person.
Yes.
Like, I think that's a great way to identify their specific fears and concerns and the way they view the world. Like, that's a great way to do it. And people love quizzes. Like,
Yes.
everybody wants to
Yeah, it's
take a
fun,
quiz.
right? They're
Yeah.
just fun.
Yeah.
And I used ChatGPT to help me make the quiz.
Oh, nice, nice.
I did.
Haven't
It was like more of like the framework than the
Mhm.
actual questions, but
Yeah.
that was a pretty handy little
Yeah,
tool.
that's cool. Yeah, I've heard people using. I haven't really talked too much about it on the show, but you're hearing more and more. Like you're hearing bits and pieces. I'm using it for this, using it for that, or whatnot. But I haven't
Yeah.
used it myself yet. But
Yeah, that was actually the most beneficial way that I've used
nice,
ChatGPT. It
nice.
was really very helpful. I've done quizzes before. In my first business, I had a
Hmm.
really well received
Hmm.
and taken quiz. And so I, feel pretty confident in this arena.
Yeah, that's exciting too. Very cool. And
Yeah.
launching something new, like a different way to get people's attention, I guess, or
Yes.
connect with people. Rather, that's what I want to say.
Connection.
A
Yeah.
way to connect with people. Yeah, that's awesome.
Well, and for me, you cannot get it from social media. You're
Hmm.
going to have to come to my website.
Yeah,
You know,
that's
and
good.
so that's kind of the power behind it. I
Hmm.
talk about brave yes power moves with my clients.
Hmm.
We have to play big. We have to play smarter than, the algorithms
Hmm.
and all of that, so that you're actually really getting an impact.
Well, yeah, and who's on this platform or who's on that platform and who's leaving this platform and who's leaving that platform and that you mentioned the algorithms, like your website. Yes, you may have a harder time getting traffic to it based on certain things, but it's there, it's living there. You can keep adding to it. You're showing like a body of work over time. I'm a big proponent, coming from a web background, like a big proponent of your website being like the source. And then, yeah, put your stuff on social media, do whatever else you're gonna do, YouTube or Instagram or whatever, but, like, your website
Your
there.
website is everything.
Yes. Yes, exactly, and
Yes,
your email
it's my
list.
baby. It's
Yeah,
my
it's your baby,
baby. I
yes, yes,
spend
yeah,
countless hours tweaking
yeah,
my website and
yeah, that's
nobody's there
good.
to read it.
Oh, that's
No, but
good
it is
because
the biggest conversion tool that I have.
that's awesome.
I
Mhm,
tell people, like, it's my
mhm,
website that works. It's when
yes,
people go to my
mhm,
website and they read things and they're like,
mhm.
"Oh,
You're like, "Oh,
she's
she
who I
gets
need to
me?"
work."
Yes,
Yes.
yes, that's great. Yeah, because
Yeah.
a lot of people, they put the website up and then they're like, "Do,
And
do, do, I don't do anything else." And it's like,
yeah.
"Oh, the website, the website, the website." Yes, so
It is
yeah.
your magic,
Mhm.
it's your secret sauce, really.
Yes. Yes. Oh, I love that. That's cool. Okay, great. Okay, so tell us, what do you give us maybe 2 to 3 pieces of advice for people they have not taken this step yet? They have never maybe created a product, maybe they have a lead magnet, maybe they don't. So what do you recommend they either do or don't do, in your words?
Yeah. Okay. This is fun. I'm a courage coach for
Mhm.
entrepreneurs and creators. So the first thing I'm going to say is say yes before you're ready.
Mm,
If you have the idea, don't hold back and just do it because it takes, I always tell my clients, action creates clarity, right?
mhm,
It's
yes.
only once
Oh,
you
I love that.
actually
Mhm,
take the action that you're going to start to know what's going to work. Same for selling. I would say, try selling it, then you'll
mhm,
know if it's going to work or not. You can put a million free things out there, but if you
mhm,
try to put a dollar to it, then you'll know.
mhm.
And
Different.
it's a game changer. Um, Follow your joy and your passion. I kind of talked about this in the beginning, but you know what people need.
Mhm,
You don't need to do all these like millions of data research. You as a service provider, as a consultant, as a freelancer, with the experience, you
mhm.
know what people need. My best work has come from that alone. I had a free lead magnet that was a challenge. It was called the Rise and Shine program. It was a waking up and getting up early kind of program.
Okay.
And that led to a series of about 25,000 subscribers
Wow.
over the course of a couple of years.
Mhm.
So, all because I loved mornings and I wanted to share that passion with other people.
Nice. Mhm.
So, don't don't think that you have to do all this research. You know what
Yes.
people love, you know what people need, and you really need to trust that. And then get support because support, conversations, ways to talk things through and ask questions is really valuable. And you should never create something in a vacuum. Your brain is going to expand when you have a
Yes.
conversation with somebody who's asking you the right questions or, are you sure that this is the right,
Yeah.
like just
Yeah.
really kind of helping you walk through things that you're not able to see
Mhm.
because of your own blockers
Mhm.
and, your own life
Yeah.
experiences or limited experiences.
Yes. It makes so much sense to you. You're like, "Oh, it's just like this," and somebody's like, "Wait, I don't understand that." And you're like, "Wait, really?" But it makes so much sense to me. So yes, I
Right?
think having those conversations, yeah, whether it's an official, coach or, mastermind group,
I
that's
always tell people, your husband or your partner is
yes,
not your coach.
your
They
business
want their
coach.
own
Yes.
life. Like, let
Yes.
them sleep.
Yes. Yeah. They don't
They're
really
they're
know.
tired.
Yes. Yeah.
They're
Exactly.
tired. They're
Yeah.
not gonna give you plus,
Yeah.
and this is why I love coaching. I have always had to pay for my biggest cheerleaders. And
Hmm.
that's just the way it works. And it's not a bad thing.
Hmm.
You're paying an expert or somebody who is going to be in your corner, whether it's a mastermind or any
Hmm.
any kind of program. You're paying for a lot of reasons, but the number one thing you're paying for is that level of encouragement and
Yes.
inspiration
Hmm.
that nobody else is going to care as much as you do,
Yes. Hmm.
except if you pay for a program of some
Hmm.
sort that just gives you that like skin in the game and you're like, okay, I can
Yeah.
do
Yes, and you get so
um
much more done, like, you and the
you do.
clarity because, you mentioned the action creating clarity, like, there's so much more action happening that the clarity is coming from it, like, I just think
Yes.
it's a big game changer. I don't know if we're kind of maybe getting off track here, but, if you recommend, like, being in coaching, like, all the time, like, I did a 6-month block of coaching, and I felt like I was really go, 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 but then, maybe needed like a time of rest and not so much movement, but not that it's off limits to go back to it. So I'm not sure what you recommend for people.
Yeah, I mean, absolutely. I think it depends on where you're at and the kind of coaching, probably.
Mhm,
Um, but I find that many people are like, yeah, I've done a lot, I've learned a lot. I think I need a
mhm.
little pause or a little
Yeah.
rest. And
Mhm,
absolutely, like listen to your
mhm,
body.
mhm.
A lot
Yeah,
of
I
my
think
clients don't leave, and when they
yeah.
leave, they are like, I need to come back.
Oh, yes,
So,
right?
and it,
Yes.
and it might be just the style of coaching, and
Yeah.
I kind of tend to like, we're just gonna have like a constant, consistent momentum as opposed to
Mhm.
big action and then rest and
Yeah.
really looking for, like
Mhm,
consistent courage,
mhm.
consistent movement, but not exhausting you, not burning you
Yeah.
out. So I think it could be the
Yeah.
level of energy that you put forth
Mhm.
you might need a pause,
Yeah, that makes
or you
sense.
might be like, no, I'm good.
Mhm.
Let's keep going.
Like a marathon pacer, like the
Yeah.
person who runs like the, 11-minute mile and you're like, "Okay, that's my person. I'm following
Right.
them."
Well, and you gotta watch too, like, coaching, if and I know we're off topic, but, like, if you are taking action because you're not with a coach,
Mhm,
that tells me there's more work to be done. Like,
mhm.
you need to be able to sustain the outcomes on your own.
Yeah.
So you don't wanna only take action because you finally have the coach,
Mhm.
Like,
Yes, that's true.
you
Yeah.
gotta be in it. I tell people, like, if you wanna be a business owner and you wanna have digital out online world, you gotta fight for it,
Mhm,
and it takes constant energy and
mhm.
work. It's
Yeah,
it's not easy.
yeah. I wonder if service providers too are, maybe accustomed to getting support. Like, I wonder if that's an area where they're maybe not used to it. Like, they're used to supporting the businesses they serve, one to one, their specific services, but they have maybe not encountered, an opportunity to work with a group, to work with a coach, to have a guide to get them through something. But I just feel like as soon as you try that, it's kind of like to me, it's kind of like therapy. Like the first time you go to therapy, you're like, okay, all right. I can see now how getting through a difficult time in my life is beneficial with therapy. Like it's
Yes.
easier to do it, with somebody there to help you through it with your specific problem. So I I wonder if like that's a thing
Well,
that
not
service
even just
providers haven't.
service providers, but
Mhm.
all,
Oh, true. Yeah.
I have a couple of, very high end brands
Mhm.
who are not making money and they've
Mhm.
just been kind of suffering through in survival mode,
Yeah.
thinking, oh, someday it's going to come to me. Someday it's going to
Mhm.
come to me. And they're not really, they're so focused on vanity metrics,
Yes.
which you get really caught up in vanity metrics
Yeah.
when you have almost 1 million followers,
Mhm.
you should be making at least six figures, if not
Yeah.
more than that. And so people are really confused on, I should be able to do this myself. I've got the numbers, I've got,
Mhm.
everything is in place. But sometimes you need an outside party to just show you what you cannot see, because there's a lot of things I can't see. I need other people to help me.
And why should you have to do everything by yourself? Like, why? Why is that? That like, we're like, well, I can, like every aspect of my life, like I should be able to handle, to know how to handle and handle by myself. A lot of the things that that I'm encountering right now, I've never done before. I've never gone through this specific scenario or situation. And maybe I don't even know anyone else who has. So like having that support, finding that support and having that support, like really makes a big difference.
Absolutely. Yeah. I had tons of support over the years, tons. And I always tell people resilience withers in isolation. We are not resilient people on our own. We'll crash and burn. We will go to our caves. We will hide out.
Yeah.
And that's not where good action happens.
And it just gets so heavy sometimes. It gets so like, oh, like, can you just carry it all? And and having somebody with you, like that's kind of reflecting things back to you, like, maybe you don't need to carry that. Maybe life doesn't need to be so heavy because you can put that thing down and you can move on with this other thing or on this other path or in this other direction. Like, you can do it. Yeah. So, okay. Anyway, the benefits of us coaching.
Totally. Right. I know we just gave a whole plug on that, but
I like it. Yeah.
I think, I just want to add one thing that I think a lot of times coaching is permission. Like permission to no, you don't have to do that thing. Or, yes, you can do that thing. And I find that that's like every week, like I'm just giving permission, and I love that.
Yeah, that's nice.
That doesn't feel good. Let it go.
You don't have to do it that way. Just because like the whoever online said that you should do it that way, or your neighbor is like, well, you should do this. Like, you don't have to. It's okay. There's another way. Like you can figure out another way.
And I have a lot of people pleasers as clients.
I'm sure you do.
Yes,
I'm sure.
do.
There's
That's
a specific
common theme.
I bet there's a specific personality type. Like that's
yes, there is. So we
the high achievers.
A lot of changing on the people pleasing.
Yeah, I like that. That's awesome. Cool. Okay, so tell us where we can find you online.
ShawnFink.com is my website, and I do encourage anyone who's interested in learning more to go there, read through things. I do a lot of writing. There's a podcast to listen to called The Brave Yes Business Show. And then every week I send out a newsletter, The Brave Yes Playbook. Both of those are on my website. But I'm also on all the socials, LinkedIn, Facebook, Instagram. I don't do as much on Facebook anymore, but Twitter. So yeah, I'm pretty prolific in terms of marketing and putting work out there. So, I don't hustle and grind about it. I just have really good systems.
Excellent. Oh, I love that. That's probably a whole other podcast. Oh, I love it. Very cool. Well, thank you so much for being on the show today. It was great talking with you.
Thank you for having me. I loved it.
Hey, thanks for listening. I'd love to continue the conversation in your inbox. Email subscribe to hey@yfdp.show or sign up in the show notes to get bi-monthly emails about how you can create, launch, and market your first digital product. Can't wait to see you there.